If you're in the market right now for an airplane, particularly a light sport or small airplane, you're likely looking at these guys. And as someone who's operated and flown both, I will tell you exactly what are the differences and practically what are the same about this plane, because guess what? Your performance is not changing whether you're getting this or that. The differences are obviously, you can see the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that the canopy for that plane goes backwards. I call them suicide doors. And the canopy for the cruiser goes upwards. Now, what else is different? Well, this is older technology, older frame. Keeping in mind that the frame is perfectly fine. So if it ain't broken, don't change it. Cruiser has been building these planes for too long, and they haven't changed much of anything about it. Cowling design, airframe design, cabin is practically same as you would have it 10 years ago. So you've got nice leather seating inside, you've got one power lever, and of course you have a parachute, okay? We go on the Viper side, which is a little more pretty. First thing you notice with the Viper, it's actually sitting lower to the ground as compared to the cruiser. And the cruiser also has, I think, a bit more wider wheels compared to the sport cruiser. Compared to the Viper, sorry. And the Viper does have smaller tanks. So if you see here, you've got 12.25 gallons of fuel. And here you've got 15 gallons of fuel that you can use. All right, let's go back to the Viper here. Again, cleaner, sexier, more equipped, I would say. But something that's just glowing to the eyes is you see here with the Viper, you have maybe some usefulness with that, but you've got your power lever up top here and the brakes are here. Another difference with the Viper is you have handbrake as compared to toe brakes. In the cruiser, you've got toe brakes. And here also is actually something that makes them similar, although it's arranged differently. In the cruiser, you also have a Dynon Sky View, which you have here. You've got dual, but here you have an additional backup equipment here, the G5, and you've got this trig equipment here that allows you to shoot approaches. Now, let's go back to the cruiser. Keep all those things in mind that I just mentioned, okay? So with the cruiser, you look at the equipment on board, okay, like I said, you've got the Dynon Sky View, you have dual, which by the way, what's very unique about the Sky View is that it also serves as a backup, right? So that plane has both the Dynon as backup and the G5, whereas this plane has just the Dynon. Like I said, if that battery or you lose your power, these units have batteries of their own to keep things on for a while. So that's a good thing, all right? But I will say the middle console for the Sport Cruiser, much simpler. You can see it's not as busy up there. You do have your parachute right there, and you've got a little cubby as well. Now, where these planes start to really differ, I think, is in the weight and also flying characteristics. So if you look here, in this plane, you've got electronic trim, which is on the, I'll go up there, show you. With this plane, you have your elevator trim, which is electronic on here. So when you're flying, you take off, you can use this guy to support, so to release the pressure. In the Viper SD4, which I'll show you shortly, you have something similar, but the Viper SD4 also has aileron trims. Now, something you wouldn't get in the Viper are these guys. You have a wing locker in this plane. Again, you can put a total of 44 pounds, so 22 on each side. And of course, you also have that large area back there that will hold up to 40 pounds. Now, let's see what it's like in the Viper. So in the Viper SD4, you also have that bag space, but you're limited to using these cubbies back here, which get a total of 32 pounds you can put back there, and you don't have a wing locker in the airplane. And what I was mentioning earlier, you look at the stick here, again, a lot prettier. In the Viper SD4, you do have elevator trims, but you also have aileron trim that really makes this airplane a lot easier and less pressure to fly. The Viper SD4 also has a unique platform and stability. And what I mean by that is that the CG of this plane is almost perfectly centered. Now, for everyday pilot, you may not think about those details. In a flight school or a commercial flight environment, we think about all these little things, right? Both these planes are great, by the way, in a training environment. That plane, man, you can't stall that thing. You can, but it's really hard to stall a sport cruiser. Same as this, right? It's a very minimal shake with the plane, and you almost have to raise the nose all the way up to stall this thing. So they behave well in that. But again, this has a better CG in how everything is laid out in this particular airplane. One hidden difference with both Viper and the Sport Cruiser is this guy, you can carry more weight. The gross weight for the Viper SD4 is 1320 plus 77 pounds. So you get extra 77 pounds with this guy, whereas with the Sport Cruiser, you're just limited at 1320 pounds. What that means, guys, is this has more useful load. So if you're on the bigger side, this is the plane for you. But also, this has a wider cabin, which let me raise. I don't know if you can kind of measure with your eyes, but this has a wider cabin as compared to the Sport Cruiser here. Again, your eyes may not be able to tell immediately, but it is wider in the Viper than the Cruiser. Are you catching on so far? Now, similarities, same engine. Rotax 912 ULS, Rotax 912 ULS. This, as I mentioned in previous videos, you had to cut your own venting holes to make it livable during the summer, whereas in the Viper SD4, all that is already beautifully done. You already have a nice big air vent here on both sides, and also down here you've got nice air cooling. So the plane, a lot of the little details already thought about with this airplane. The last thing I will talk about is the pricing, because at the end of the day, it really comes down to what your budget is and how much you're willing to pay for any of these airplanes. Keeping in mind that your performance are practically the same. You're going just as fast in this as you are in that. You can carry a little bit more in this. So how much does it cost? Right now, this is a used airplane, and you can get these used between $140,000 to $50,000. The used ones on the market right now are around a little over $200,000. Now, brand new, this plane, brand new, you're looking at $260,000 as equipped, whereas this plane, as equipped, brand new, is over $300,000. I'm laughing because I remember when these guys used to cost about $100,000 each. But of course, those days are long gone. And I know some of you have already complained about high prices on airplanes. Don't shoot the messenger, guys.